everyone, and welcome to the Underground Network broadcasting live. Make sure to subscribe to youtube.com/underground network. This is a self-sustained, sustainable production going live every day. It's been this is the 53rd show, daily show, Monday through Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in English, Thursday, Friday in Greek. So tune in if you're watching on Meerkat, and I don't know where you're watching from because I can't check your profiles, you're far away, but make sure to just join whenever you can. It's daily at 2 p.m. Pacific time and 11 p.m. Greek time as of now. So today is Greek Independence Day. This is how they translated it in English. It's a national day. It's a celebration of the liberation of Greeks from the Ottoman Empire. This is the day the revolution lasted for many years, but they picked the beginning of that war of independence, as they have translated in English, to celebrate, which is March 1821. And the translation in English is War of Independence, yet I think that's not really a correct translation, as it is rather in Greek, it's a Greek Revolution. That's how we say it in Greek. Greek Revolution, and the idea was, of course, more than independent, was freedom. That was the word eleftheria in Greek. The word can be used in English. It is used by many academics and scholars when they want to refer to the meaning also in ancient Greek, eleutheria, eleftheria. So that is the word that basically is what made, let's say, another way to call the Greek Revolution was the word in Greek, which means rebirth, sort of a rebirth of a country, actually, paligenesia. So the rebirth of the Greek as a abstract, more abstract entity as a nation, but physically it became the new state. Which first detached itself from the Ottoman Empire, and then further down the line in the years that followed became bigger until 1912. Greece gained the borders that it has today, more or less. So anyway, that is what we're celebrating today in Greece, and the reason why I'm talking about it I chose to talk about is because it's a big celebration, it's a symbol, but also I want to talk about the idea of freedom and what it means, what it symbolizes for the Greeks and for Greece, especially in today's world where Greece is under tutelage. I consider it. It's not free. It's a debt colony. It's basically under foreign rule in a way, like many other countries in the world. Now, who's under foreign rule? It's basically the people. That's my take, that's my view. It's subjective, but I talk about myself here. So, I talk about my views, not about myself. This is how I see it. We should call it what it is. When we get ultimatums, like as a country, like we do, like we have been in the past 5 years since the crisis started, we're getting ultimatums that basically equal war ultimatums, even though they are in the field of the economy and not with arms, yet that is anything but freedom to me. So that's a brief introduction, and I'll go straight to one of these ultimatums to celebrate the freedom and the War of Independence, or the Greek Revolution, which, as I said, I prefer to call it. The euro area said that it gives Greece 5 days to deliver a plan. So basically, everything is very, very dire. All the communication or the miscommunication or the dialogue of the deaf, like I called it a few days ago, and that a lot of people, I saw a lot of people call it that way on Twitter today, between the European Union or the Eurozone and mainly the German heads and Greece and the Greek government is sort of like not working, and of course it's not working because especially, and I have to say that the Greek government has been using a mixed language, gives mixed messages. It feels that it says other things to its lenders and partners and all those people at the level of the European Union, and then goes back to Greece and says different things to the people. Confirming what Germany's finance minister, Mr. Schäuble, said early on in the negotiations, which were never negotiations, still are not negotiations, and will never be negotiations going further. Mr. Schäuble had said at the time, let's see how the Greek finance minister, Mr. Varoufakis, will deliver those things that he promised to us, to his people. And he also said that he sort of wouldn't want to be in his place. So the ultimatum is that Greece has 5 days to deliver those plans. It's from Bloomberg. This is an article from Bloomberg. And we see that 18 members of the Eurozone are adamant that earlier today, back in Europe, that Greece needs to deliver specific plans or reforms. I put reforms in quotation marks because the reforms are there to serve the neoliberal policies of what they call structural adjustments and balanced budget, and all this jargon, all this vocabulary that is being used against us, the people. So this is what they call reforms, but whatever, I'm using their words. This is not my word. So Greece needs to deliver a plan or plans for reforms to get bailout cash. They've blocked most of the cash. Greece can't have access to even, there was like a small hope that there was some 1.2 billion that went back to the EFSF, the European Financial Stability Mechanism, that probably belonged to Greece from back in the day prior to the crisis, when some money had been taken to bail out banks, because yes, banks were being bailed out even before the crisis, from my understanding. So some of that money somehow ended in the EFSF. I thought it was 500, 600 million, but it looks like it's more. Yet Greece thought it could have that money back, because God knows how that money went to the EFSF. It doesn't even appear in the statements of the country from what I've been reading. So anyway, that money mysteriously planned to get to the banks, went to the EFSF. Now it's not coming back. So basically, Greece has zero cash. We know that it's tapped into its insurance funds and pension funds to pay the IMF in the past weeks. So the ultimatum is basically Monday, 5 days, and the European Union, not Europe, and the Eurozone has been delivering those ultimatums one after the other for the past few weeks. And what do we get from the Greek side? What we get is very pompous speeches in Greece, for the internal consumption, I would call it, but not the same type of speeches at the level of the European Union or Germany, where Mr. Tsipras, the Greek Prime Minister, was on Monday. So the people are there just celebrating the Independence Day, celebrating the Independence Day, the Greek Revolution, which marks the start of the Greek Revolution. From what I've been reading, the people were watching the parades. Parades are going on all around Greece. This is a tradition in Athens on the 25th of March. It's usually the military parade, which switches with Thessaloniki in northern Greece, and on the other national day, the 28th of October. So, but on the 25th of March, we have the military parade in Athens, and every other smaller place, villages, towns, cities, they usually have parades from, schools, and I mean, this is the tradition as far as I can remember. Now, how has this whole thing been received from Greece? The ultimatum, I have not seen so far any sort of response to this ultimatum from Europe. This five-day deadline to deliver reform, but Mr. Tsipras gave a speech, and I think it's of course related to the Independence Day. He said, "Today we are celebrating with pride our national renaissance, our national rebirth." And he said that 1821, which is the day of the Greek Revolution of 1821, the foundation for the values which we have to watch really carefully. And it said the values like independence, freedom, and sovereignty and dignity. So independence, sovereignty, dignity. Those are the words exactly translated. Mr. Tsipras talked of independence, sovereignty, and dignity. Now, these three words which he used are the ones precisely that we're missing today in Greece. That's my little comment there. He also added that nothing was given to our people, to the Greeks. Everything was conquered with struggles. So I guess he is, and he also said that when a people is ready to struggle for what belongs to him, he's the enemy. He can make everything possible, and he can beat the enemy. Now, these words, of course, are typical words on a national day celebrating the independence or the Greek Revolution for any country, for any people. We can fight the enemy, but in this context of today's Greece and the situation, I think they must bring even more confusion. And the irony of it is that we don't have all these things that we're celebrating. That's the irony. And going back to the parade, I've been reading that a lot of people we're sort of watching. There's a sort of uneasy feeling of what is going to happen, what is going on. Are we anywhere different from where we were in the country with the previous government? Where are we going? Where are we moving toward? These are all the questions that I was reading on Twitter. So there's not much more I want to talk about today, basically. But speaking of freedom, another very crucial, and I'm not going to show those images, even though I sometimes do, that I use my iPad, is because this is a day where we celebrate freedom and independence. And, as a country, as I said, I don't think we have it. A lot of images today were posted from inside the prison in Athens, in Korydallos prison, where inmates showing the conditions of inmates, and how, you know, the sanitary conditions, the bathrooms. There's an account of on Twitter showing people who have health problems, how they are not being treated, where they're sleeping, how they're, you know, the conditions that they live in, and they're terrible. So when you celebrate freedom, even for people who have committed felonies or are criminals, or not, who are incarcerated, even for prisoners, that shows the level of civilization of a country, and it is extremely disturbing to see those images. So I think the government, before it came to power, pledged to help those people, look into that horrible situation inside the Athens prison, yet nothing has been done. And most of these inmates have declared, are going, or they have already, I think they've already started a hunger strike. They said that they don't mind dying rather than live in these conditions. And from the pictures that they themselves post, it's pretty clear that they mean what they say, and it's to no surprise to anyone. It should be to no surprise to anyone to see those conditions in the Greek prison of Korydallos in Athens. So when we want to celebrate freedom, and we want to celebrate, pride and revolution and change and independence and sovereignty, and when the reality on the ground is so detached from what we're saying and from what we're celebrating, I think is the time to really question where we stand as a society, as a people, as a country, speaking of Greece. But of course, yesterday with my guest, John Ennis, the director of Pay to Play, when I was interviewing him and talking with him, we realized that I personally realized how indeed the struggle is everywhere, is going on everywhere, and a lot of things apply to many other countries in the world, including the United States. And of course other countries in Europe and Africa. And basically, today I would rather celebrate maybe the beginning of this, not the beginning, but being reminded, just take it as an excuse to be reminded that we have to keep on fighting for the same values, and that the struggle never ends. I will leave it at that unless you guys have interacted, but I'm not sure because I can't. I have no access whatsoever to any messages today. I have been okay. So some friends are here. Yota, Akis, and Maria are here. So hello, everyone. Let me know how you celebrated the Independence Day in Greece. I know that some of you are in Crete, which is the Greek island south of Greece. Let me know if there was something special there. Just on a side note, I was reading that Mr. Varoufakis was in Crete with his wife. And this was all over Twitter. Of course, it's nothing official, but some people, he's a star. Like, let's face it, everyone around him, mainly women and children, but still wanted to take a picture with him, and he was very open to it. So there's a video where he's taking selfies with kids and students, and so he's just very lovable, and that's a fact regardless of his qualities as a finance minister. As a professor of economics, I don't know. I mean, I've been following him and he's got interesting writing in the past, but as a finance minister, I've already said it, he's contradicting himself a lot, so I've lost hope. Yet at some point somebody told him, we are with you, we support you, and he said, support me also after the rift. after the clash, something like that. So so I don't know if he spoke his mind at that moment, if he's thinking of a clash with the European partners and the Eurozone. I don't know if this has been picked up by Europe or the partners. It was totally unofficial. He was in the middle of a crowd in Crete, after the parade, taking selfies. Yet he said that. He said, "Yeah, just make sure you support me after the clash, after the rift." So it's good to know, even if it was just for a moment, maybe he subconsciously let something slip. Maybe that was a moment of truth. Who knows? Yet he did say it. Yota said she didn't celebrate. Maria says, "I didn't go to the parade and I don't understand. I understand, but I'm just playing dumb. We fell in love again with parades." So that's okay. Let me, before I go, because I have to go. I have to go to a parade here. No, I'm kidding. There's no parade in LA. There is a parade, I think, for the 25th of March in New York for the Greeks, if I'm not mistaken, but not in LA. So Maria is saying that so there has been a huge debate, public debate on Twitter timeline whether seeing all these tanks, the parade, the military parade in Athens, a lot of people are like, I don't like that. I think this should be banned. How much money are we spending for this? And of course it costs money to have a parade like that. Other people were saying, how can we have a parade in front of people like the president of the Hellenic Republic, Mr. Pavlopoulos, who was from the previous government. He had voted for the memorandum, so basically he's partly responsible for the situation today, and he is the president of the Hellenic Republic today, which is more of an honorary title, but you parade in front of that person. So a lot of people are like, why are we parading in front of a person like him who we theoretically don't like, or we don't like what he contributed into bringing to realization, like the memoranda, like the austerity measures. He's one of them. He signed all these contracts, he voted for those things. So how can we have a military parade, which is so expensive, which reminds of other eras, b how do we have him, the president of the Hellenic Republic, Mr. Pavlopoulos, having him there as it doesn't make sense. We should stop all these things. And then other people who were saying, well, this is the celebration, blah blah blah. I don't know. Everybody has their own view on this. What really, I'm pro peace. I don't like wars. But the only thing that sort of makes me a little skeptical in saying, yes, let's ban, no military, no parade. Yeah, about the parade is something else, but about military and tanks, and should we ban all these things? I heard that the EU is now creating a military. It's expanding. It wants to create a body of 1.2 million people, like a European Union entire military body. So and I think I don't really understand the role of that type of military, because I'm very skeptical about what its role would be. Would it be to, first of all, how do you create one common force for the European Union with so many different countries, which are still very, very different culturally? Second question is what is that type of institution? What would it be called to defend? what would be what would the call be exactly? Would it be to protect the European Union? Would it be to protect borders? Which borders? Because not every country in Europe is in the European Union, let alone the Eurozone. Would it be to, I don't know. The third question is, would that military obviously would be mercenaries? They would be paid, I guess. And another question is, what would happen to every military in every country? So these are questions that are sort of, let's not have any war, let's not have military anywhere, armies and stuff. But I don't understand, and I've been hearing it a lot in the last weeks, this need for a European army, and that is sort of not clear to me what that means, and why they wanted. Do they wanted to control the people? Because that could be a possibility, seeing how police is becoming militarized and we have riot police everywhere. It's very shady to my view. So that's so I have an issue with that. Also, some of you may know my father was a Greek naval officer, so I do understand the and also we have in history in ancient Greece. It's funny how basically the people who were in favor of war, of course, completely different conditions and circumstances, yet in terms of to have a democracy, you have to be able to have a military just to guarantee a certain amount of peace, I guess. I mean, this is just like, I'm no specialist in that, but what worries me more is the military of army of a country versus an army in the EU. I don't quite understand. I mean, I have my suspicions of what that means, or I don't quite understand it yet, and I don't want to understand it. Actually, I don't want it, because we have more militarized police, and I don't know the connection of those two areas and how they could be connected, and why they would need that so badly, and why they're pushing for that. Have new friend who joined from the UK. Greetings to you, Dimitri. He says, Katerina, keep up the great work. Thank you so much. By the way, I want to read before I go, and I will go. I promise I'll go fast. Maria says, oh no, sorry, she didn't say anything. Somebody else said. Angry Kitty says, I think the military will be used against the people in the EU. I have this feeling, and people in general, not only probably in the EU, my fear is also, how NATO is sort of expanding in the area, Ukraine and all these things, and we're members of NATO. I don't know also if that would play a role, if that would be another reason why they want to push for that. Yes, I thank you so much for your message, Dimitri, and I want to read another great message that I got 2 days ago, which I was going to talk about yesterday, but we got carried away in the interview. If I can find that message, give me 1 second. Somebody whose name I don't know because it was anonymous said that they learn a great deal from those programs, and thank you. They say thank you for your message, by the way. The person says, I have a suggestions. Wouldn't it be really good to give more focus to ordinary people around the world who wholeheartedly support the Greek ordinary people in their anti-austerity movement? So basically, the person is suggesting, wouldn't it be great to have people from around the world supporting, anti-austerity, the struggle of the people in Greece for anti-austerity, because we know austerity is not limited to Greece. It is probably very pushed to the extremes in Greece, but it's happening most everywhere in Europe and even in America. When you hear cuts, it's austerity. The difference is still America has sort of it has a national currency. It's not trapped into anyone's monetary union. The dollar is super strong, but still you hear cuts in healthcare, cuts in education, cuts. That's austerity. So the person is saying there must be millions of us, and a document and a little critique of this would be such a valuable document, uplifting. So suggesting to gather ordinary people who support anti-austerity, obviously in Greece, but also everywhere in the world. And that's a great suggestion. Let me get to how we could do that. The person is saying, I just typed into search international solidarity with Greece, and there were loads of entries. So a lot of people are, according to my friend who sent the comment, organizing and supporting internationally the solidarity in Greece. I've mentioned a lot of those organizations here, like, you know, right, the Jubilee in the UK, and whatever attracts my attention, I definitely mention it here. So she says, or he says, please, Underground Network, maybe you could focus on this or anyone else out there. So one of the things we can do is, of course, this platform is open. So whoever lives in LA, if they're anti-austerity, if they want to show their solidarity, talk about austerity and how we can fight it, please just leave a comment and we'll have you here the next day. So this is an open platform for anyone who physically can make it and be here with me. That's number one. Number two, very, very soon, through our app, which we'll be launching, we will have this platform where people will actually be able to organize. It is designed and made specifically for that. And the platform, the app also has video and has all these tools that one needs to get those voices out there. This is the mission of the Underground Network. So that's another thing that will be possible, just not just yet, because we haven't launched our app. We're in the middle of finalizing it, creating it for Android, because right now we're focusing on iPhone, but creating it also for Android. But yes, this is exactly what we need, and not only for Greece. We need solidarity from around the world. We need to organize. We need to make our voices heard. And we need to get back our freedom and our democracies and our lives back. And having said this, I'm going to read the last messages and go celebrate Greek Independence Day or Greek Revolution Day with other Greeks, other fellow Greeks here in LA in a few hours. Dimitris does not agree and says, let's not be that pessimistic. The European army is not to be turned against its own people. I am so not sure about that, Dimitri. I'm glad you're optimistic. I'm generally optimistic, but I was listening to Naomi Wolf, the writer, and she noticed, and she has real arguments for it, and she wrote a book about it, that one of the steps that into losing our democracy and into turning democratic regimes, or so-called democratic, even representative democracy for me is not democracy, but anyway, supposed democratic regimes, how they're turning into fascist regimes around the world. One of the steps is, police, militarized police, that armies. So it's we just have to keep an eye on it. We're not saying that, this is not doomsday. We're not saying this is going to happen, but we have to be very skeptical about it, I think. Akis just joined and said, nope, regarding the European army. He says they just want to make it more easy to get people to fight for private imperialism without the need for NATO. That's one of the views, and I can't say at least from instinctively, I can't say I disagree. Angry Kitty says the stated reason for the EU was to stop the wars. So why set themselves up for wars? A military machine doesn't like to just sit around and do nothing. That's a very, very valid and valuable information and valid argument, Angry Kitty, because yes, so the EU said they wanted an army to stop the wars. Who believes that? I don't think many of us believe that. Also, a lot of, creating an army, like so much money is going to go to that. Whose money? Taxpayers' money? Who knows? But we also know that a lot of money is making wars is a profitable business as well as managing debt. So no wonder why they want to create that army. Dimitri says, might I suggest, Katerina, it would be nice if I could find more information about your app, your media, and the people behind it. Dimitri, you will in a really short time. The reason why I can't disclose much more information is because this is not a multiple platform, but in a way it has a lot of different levels, and a lot of things that we're doing cannot be disclosed because of different agreements and legal issues. But the moment we're ready to go public, a lot more. The moment we're ready, you will be the first ones to know. The people behind this is me and some other people in the other room. And other people working remotely, because we work with people in the Bay Area. We're connected with a team of people working on this. So the information that I can say so far is what it does, and basically, to put it that way, is after thousands of years where we could not have what we used to call direct democracy, in terms of the Athenian democracy, that type of democracy, we couldn't physically have it because of numbers, and we turned into representative democracy. So that was also a choice after the French Revolution, but this is through this app. This will be possible, and you have many apps out there which allow for a lot of democracy and petitions and even voting, and we do have that. Our app is going to be simple to start with. What we have also, though, is the fact that we can connect. We have the social component, which is very important. And another very important thing, because we're very interested in younger people who don't really pay attention to politics because they think it's boring, and they're, at some point they can't deal with it. They're too, younger people are very cynical, the young generation. So we do want to make this fun. We all come from, not all of us, but many of us come from an entertainment background. It has to be from the people. So this is politics from the people, from the people's standpoint and viewpoint, and that's a huge difference, because there's a lot of things out there, and once you go see, it's great. Some of them are great, and they work. They look like they're very effective for our democratic process. Yet, they're not that attractive, and the idea is get those younger generations involved in the public life so that new politicians with completely different profiles can arise from there, and not just be trapped in this vicious circle, us and the politicians and the people and this fight. We could really we have the opportunity now with this technology to change the way things work. Not only, change your governments, existing governments and the people, and, not only this, but create new people, create a new generation, create this, create the new citizen who ideally will be involved in public life because he will love it, because he'll become passionate about it. And to do that, you have to show that once you do something and you can bring about change, that gives you just more appetite to do more. And that's, I think, what the app is all about. That's as much as I can say. So I hope that helps with a little bit more information. Oh, okay, and that having said of all these things about underground, I will leave you at that. Thank you for watching today, a short one. A lot of people watching on, not that many, but yeah, some people watching on Meerkat. If you don't have Meerkat, download the Meerkat app. I love it. I use it a lot, and it's a great way to reach to people live through the phone. Take care, everybody. Celebrate every day. Celebrate Independence Day wherever you may be, and celebrate freedom and try to fight for it. Who am I to say that? At least this is what I'm telling myself every day. If that's something that that finds you, that is sort of something that you are also thinking, great. But this is the way I view the world, and this is the way I view my life right now. So happy Independence Day, or Greece, happy Greek Revolution Day, happy Freedom Day to everyone in the world. Let's get rid of debt in the world. Not only get rid of debt, let's get rid of debt colonies of people who have enslaved us through money. Let's get rid of it. It's all a scam anyway. So that's my message for Independence Day. Bye bye. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow and Friday will be Greek. Don't forget to subscribe. youtube.com/underground network, and subscribe. Take care, everyone, and see you tomorrow. Bye.